and she's standing there and the tears well up in her eyes. So one of my most heartbreaking experiences was when I made an 8-month pregnant lady cry during a showing. That was pretty awful. She was lovely and a friend who moved in. She was a lovely person, and she was referred to me by a previous client that had come to the area, and I was helping them relocate from their home state. So let's set the stage. She's 8 months pregnant with their third child planned. The other two are basically in high school at this point. She'd never really left home, and that was her home state. That's where she wanted to live. And her husband traveled all the time, like gone for a week, comes home for the weekend types, travel all the time. So they really just wanted to be together. So the criteria were that they didn't want to have more than a half an hour to 45-minute commute into DC, you know, pretty typical for people coming to the area. And then of course there's all of the wonderful sticker shock. Because what they could get for $500,000 to $600,000 where they lived would have been a mansion with, you know, 5-car garage and fountains, whereas here you're getting a 30-year-old property that hasn't been updated. So it was a little rough. So we go into the first 2 homes, everything seems to be fine. We go into the third home and we get through the first level, at which point I come back into the foyer and she's standing there and the tears well up in her eyes and this big sad little duck tear comes down her face, and the husband says, "Can we have a moment?" And I said, "Sure." So I go to one side, they go to the kitchen. So they come back out and they said, "Let's just call it a day." And I said, "Okay, we'll call it a day." So we'll meet you at this new home build much further out, so way out in Aldi. Long story short, we go the next day, we phone back up. I said, "Are you okay?" And she says, "It's just a lot to adjust to. I wasn't expecting this." So we go to this house and it's a beautiful model home, brand new. They're gonna be able to spec out everything they want, you know, all of the bells and whistles they can choose for themselves. And she says, "I really like it." And he says, "But honey, this is Aldi and it's gonna be a minimum of an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half for me to get to and from work each day." At which point she was taken over by the exorcist devil and turns to him and says, "You're taking me away from everything I've ever known. You will buy me the house I want." And he says, "So," and I turn to the sales agent and say, "Write up the contract." And she bought a new house. They're happy. They ended up having a job transfer later, and they couldn't be happier, and baby's now a big baby because that was a while ago.